program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on energy for sustainable growth. The participants are Dr. C.K. Vajne, environmentalist, and Chetan Chauhan, journalist.
Today, Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi held a webinar with government officials and the stakeholders in the area of renewable energy, sustainable lifestyle, and he spoke on how India can take a lead in sustainable lifestyle. The first question, Dr. Vajne, I would like to ask that sustainable lifestyle is a very wide term. So in that context of what PM said, what do you understand of sustainable lifestyle?
I think sustainable lifestyle is a way of living in which you are in line with the natural requirement, where you are using resources which are renewable and which you can sustain. Now, this is important with respect to the use of energy. This is important with respect to the use of materials. This is important with respect to the efficiency of their use, both of energy and materials. And it is important that the wastage should be avoided so that maximum use can be made of the resources without really creating pollution and promoting the circular economy of the resources. Because unless we have a circular economy, it is not possible to cater to our growing demand and meet aspirations of our people. So a sustainable lifestyle is a very broad umbrella term which really requires a discipline in terms of our needs and our way of using the resources, where wastage is minimum, efficiency is high, and our resources that we are using are really more and more of renewable type rather than making use of the stock resources which are limited and are fast depleting, whether it is of energy or of materials.
Dr. Vajne, Prime Minister outlined several aspects. He also spoke about India's commitment to net zero by 2070. He also spoke about the vision of life pertaining to environmentally sustainable lifestyle. He also said that India has taken a leadership in a global collaboration like International Solar Alliance. He spoke about the target of achieving 500 gigawatt non-fossil energy capacity and achieving 50% of installed capacity through non-fossil fuels by 2030. And the one important point he made is that this is not a challenge but an opportunity for India to move towards this mission. And he also said that in the budget, 19,500 crore has been provided for manufacturing of high-efficiency solar modules, which can take India as a leading manufacturing and R&D of solar modules-related products in the country. He also mentioned about National Hydrogen Mission, which the government has launched. So, in a nutshell, if you say the Prime Minister highlighted the initiatives that the government of India has taken towards sustainable growth, sustainable lifestyle. So, on the solar energy front, what do you think? Can India really become a hub for manufacturing of high-efficiency solar modules, which will have a huge demand in the coming years?
Yes, I think let me first of all make this point, Chetan, that this is for the first time such an exercise has been done, or where the government and the private sector has been brought together to really exchange the kind of aspiration and the kind of provisions that has been provided in the budget, so that the implementation becomes fast without any hiccups and roadblocks, and the targets are achieved and the problems of the two sides can be appreciated and which can be resolved fast, so that the advantage of the provisions made in the budget and the plans and the programs that has been unfolded can be realized and they are really made available for the wider use of the public and for the growth and development of the nation. So I think this is for the first time, as far as I remember, has been attempted by the government, which to my mind is a most welcome step. And it is not only with respect to energy, but for many other sectors, this is going to be or has been already been done or is being done. In this webinar, 7 ministries are involved. Ministry of Petroleum, Ministry of Coal, Ministry of Non-Renewable Energy Resources, Ministry of Environment, and so on. So that there is some kind of a common thinking as well as some kind of a seamless understanding of the projects and the opportunities that we have. Sustainable development cannot be visualized without having a sustainable renewable energy. Our energy needs are going to grow very drastically. And most of the energy needs are met by importing fossil fuel, which really creates a kind of a situation or economic burden in terms of flowing dollars for purchasing this oil. And I think that's a big drain on the economy. But on the other hand, the country is really fortunate to have plenty and sources of renewable energy in terms of solar energy now. So I think let us harvest this. The most important thing is that it will really help us to prevent that kind of a flow of energy, that kind of a dependence on others, and that kind of a situation where geopolitical situation always threatens. And today you know already that because of the situation of war that is there, the energy prices are shooting, and it is a great burden on the Indian economy where we are importing so much of oil. So I think self-sufficiency is the important point, as well as decentralized energy sources is another important point. Now coming to the energy efficiency, most of the solar panels at present we are having have very low energy efficiency. That is, conversion of the solar energy into electricity is not very high. It varies from 6%, and if you have a compound kind of a paneling, then I think it can be increased. So I think that is a very important issue. At the same time, there are important issues with respect to storage of the energy, which is also very important. And I think all these things are some where innovation is needed and the participation of the private sector is required, so that we have got better solar panels with higher efficiency. And you have already said that we are leading the Solar Alliance, which to my mind is a very important step that we have taken. And our commitment by 2070 to have net zero is important. And I think this should not be taken as a burden, but as an opportunity, which I fully share. That this is an opportunity for us to become independent to the extent possible in energy resources on which we are totally dependent on our foreign suppliers, which fluctuates with the changing geopolitical situation. And I think a lot of effort and energy goes in managing these kind of situations, and also brings uncertainty to our industry. So I should say an assured environment is needed for energy to become available at a cheaper rate, and this is all possible should we increase the efficiency of the gadgets which are using electricity, so that with less energy we are able to do more work. At the same time, the energy that we use is our own, renewable, and it is inexhaustible. So I think these are the important ingredients for a sustainable development.
Dr. Varshney, the Prime Minister spoke on many issues, solar energy, renewable energy, but one area in which the Government of India and several other stakeholders have taken an initiative in the recent past, in the last 2 years, is the National Hydrogen Mission, which aims to provide all the stakeholders a platform to develop hydrogen energy sources, the vehicles, use of hydrogen energy in different forms of industry and everywhere, so that India can take a lead in hydrogen energy usage in the country. As you know, that worldwide hydrogen is being considered as a fuel for future because it has zero emission. So how do you think that the hydrogen mission in India can really change how we use our energy sources?
I think the hydrogen is a energy source of the future. And I'm not saying a distant future, but a near future. And I think people are working very hard. And in our own country, there are some private parties or private enterprises which have really taken up this mission of making green hydrogen. And along with this, there is also a proposal to have a green ammonia, because the green ammonia directly can be used for making fertilizer, which again we are importing. And all this can really be a game changer in a big way. And with the solar grid are really the grid energy available for feeding the requirement of making this green hydrogen. And green hydrogen is transportable and can be used for various purposes, such as transport, and particularly the vehicles, as well as for making fertilizer and for even generating electricity. So I think it's the clean fuel where in one go you eliminate the problem of air pollution. At the same time, it is available using our own renewable energy. So I think these are some of the great advantages of hydrogen. And hydrogen is available in plenty because inexhaustible resources are available. It is the most common available element in our Earth environment. So I think this is something on which very strong research, innovation, as well as input is needed. And I think provision is made from the webinar. It seems clear that the government is also very keen to support the private industry to really take steps forward and come up with the kind of project that can realize this dream, which is achievable. But the only thing is that at a scale and at a rate so that India becomes a leader, and we have got all the ingredients within our natural system that we can take the leadership and become an export hub for the energy, so that instead of really importing, the time has come where we can change the tide and we can take the export of energy, which is entirely making the entire economic system, development of the country and everything in a new direction. I will also add along with this that making ethanol from the sugarcane is also very important and is being encouraged at various levels. In fact, very recently in Gonda, a sugar plant has been inaugurated, which is not going to produce any sugar, but only ethanol. Because now blending is there, and because of the blending, it is possible to use 20%. And I think that not much change is required in automobiles and others to make use of this fuel. And thus, it will help the farmer, it will help the sugar owner, and it will greatly add to the income of our farmers. So I think it's a great welcome step. Many other distilleries have also small units of this alcohol, and this is something which is also going to be encouraged.
Dr. Varshney, my question is that the household tops, the decentralized solar energy has been in talks for many, many years. But we have seen that the concept has not been picked up by people to the extent the government, the stakeholders would have wanted to decentralize the energy use, the energy generation, especially in urban areas, big cities. So what do you think, what are the roadblocks that why people have not adopted to decentralize solar power and generation, especially in urban areas?
I think the reasons are very many. For example, people who are living in flats, etc., I think the designing does not permit them to have their individual household level solar panels and solar, electricity generation system. And at the same time, it is also very important that certain amount of encouragement has to be given to these people so that they take up. So once you have high efficiency panels and once we have a large scale production of them, then the costing can come down, and that will encourage the individual households. And the growing international price of the petroleum, the electricity prices are going to shoot